Salt makes our chips, popcorn, and favorite snacks taste delicious, but it turns out that's not the only reason why it's so important. From household products like toothpaste and cosmetics to industrial applications such as fertilizers, road de-icing, and water treatment, salt is a crucial element in modern life. In fact, around 300 million tons of salt are produced globally each year, and it's found in nearly every corner of the world. However, the growing demand for salt comes with a problem. We're extracting and using so much salt that it's starting to disrupt the planet's natural systems. If we don't address this imbalance, we may be facing serious environmental consequences in the not-so-distant future. The Earth has its own natural salt cycle. For thousands of years, this cycle has kept salt levels in balance across the planet. Salt rises to the Earth's surface from deep within oceanic rocks through a slow process of geologic uplift and weathering. Over time, rocks break down and release salt ions into the soil, where some are absorbed by plants and organisms, while others are washed into rivers and eventually make their way to the oceans. Salt even reaches the atmosphere in dry regions through dust and in coastal areas through sea spray. This cycle is essential not just for ecosystems, but for human life as well. Salt plays a vital role in our bodies, which need it to regulate fluid balance and support nerve function. In fact, salt helps our body's electrical systems work properly. Plants also require small amounts of salt to maintain their metabolism and synthesize chlorophyll, which is necessary for photosynthesis. Even soil needs salt to maintain its structure, as it helps soil particles clump together. Without enough salt, ecosystems wouldn't function properly, and life as we know it would be drastically different. But here's the problem: human activity is interfering with the natural salt cycle, and speeding it up. Industrial processes like salt mining for food, manufacturing, and other products are pushing more salt into the environment than ecosystems can handle. At the same time, acid rain is accelerating the breakdown of rocks, increasing the release of salt into the environment. This is happening at a pace much faster than the Earth can naturally manage. As a result, the concentration of salt in our soils, rivers, oceans, and even the air is rising, and it's having some serious effects. A recent study by the University of Maryland combined data from sources such as the U.S. Geological Survey's Mineral Yearbook and global records of river compositions and salinity measurements. The findings are alarming. Researchers found that the overproduction and overuse of salt are causing significant imbalances in ecosystems worldwide. Plants and animals are being exposed to salt levels they can't tolerate. Species that are sensitive to even slight increases in salinity, like zooplankton in oceans or certain freshwater plants, are starting to decline. This decline can disrupt food chains and lead to the invasion of salt-tolerant species like phragmites, a tall reed that's spreading across coastal regions, outcompeting native plants. On land, excess salt is turning once fertile farmland into barren wastelands. Current estimates suggest that around 833 million hectares of land, an area about 4 times the size of India, have already been affected by oversalinization. This means that the soil has become too salty to support crops, and as a result, farmers are losing valuable land to this growing problem. Salt contamination also poses a threat to freshwater supplies, as excess salt seeps into groundwater, making it unsafe for human consumption. This is particularly concerning for people on sodium-restricted diets or those living in regions where fresh water is already scarce. It's not just table salt, sodium chloride, that's causing these issues. Other types of salts, including calcium and magnesium salts, are being released into the environment through industrial activities like fertilizer production, and the creation of building materials. This chemical cocktail of different salts could have unforeseen consequences for both human health and the environment, and scientists are only just beginning to study its full impact. You might be wondering, if salt is so bad for the environment in large amounts, would it be better to cut back entirely? The answer is no. Our bodies need salt, and so does the environment, in the right quantities. In the 1930s, Dr. Robert McCance from Cambridge University conducted an experiment that demonstrated just how vital salt is for human survival. He asked 4 volunteers to go 10 days without any salt. First, they had to sweat out all the remaining salt in their bodies, after which they were given only desalinated food and water. After a few days, the volunteers began to experience strange symptoms. They couldn't taste any flavor in their food, felt fatigued, and became so weak they could barely eat. These were early signs of hyponatremia, a condition where sodium levels in the blood drop dangerously low, causing cells to swell with water. Left untreated, hyponatremia can lead to seizures and even death. Once the experiment ended, the volunteers ate salty foods, and within minutes, their symptoms vanished, their energy returned, and they could taste their food again. This experiment highlights just how essential salt is for our survival. Imagine if salt completely disappeared from the planet. It would be a disaster for both humans and the natural world. Without salt, ocean algae would stop photosynthesis, which is responsible for nearly half of the oxygen production on Earth. As ocean ecosystems collapsed, land-based plants would soon follow, and the climate would become erratic, with wild swings between extreme heat and cold. Powerful hurricanes and other natural disasters would become the norm. In short, life on Earth would be in serious jeopardy. Salt has been important throughout human history, too. In ancient Egypt, it was used to preserve mummies and as offerings to the gods. The Phoenicians traded salt across the Mediterranean, and in medieval Europe, cities like Venice grew rich from the salt trade. The city of Salzburg in Austria, whose name literally means salt city, was founded around salt mines. Even today, salt continues to surprise us. Recently, researchers from the University of Miami discovered rare deep-sea brine pools in the Gulf of Aqaba. These super-salty, oxygen-free lakes at the bottom of the ocean are teeming with life, and may hold clues about how oceans formed millions of years ago. The extreme conditions of these brine pools could even help scientists understand how life might exist on other planets. Salt has even found its way into space. The moon, for example, has a tail. Yes, you heard that right. This slender tail, which is made up of millions of sodium atoms, is created when meteors strike the lunar surface, releasing sodium into space. Solar radiation then pushes these atoms into a long beam that wraps around the Earth's atmosphere. For a few days each month, during the new moon, high-powered telescopes can detect this sodium tail's faint orange glow in the night sky. Though harmless and invisible to the naked eye, this phenomenon is yet another example of how widespread and impactful salt is, even beyond our own planet. That's it for today. If you found this information intriguing, don't forget to give the video a like and share it with your friends. Want to learn more about other fascinating topics? Click on these videos and continue exploring the wonders of our world.